Forged by Fire, Seneca's blueprint for unbreakable mental toughness. Life has a way of testing us when we least expect it. One moment you're cruising along, feeling in control of your destiny, and the next you're facing a crisis that shakes you to your core. Maybe it's a sudden job loss that threatens your financial security, a health diagnosis that changes everything, or a relationship that crumbles despite your best efforts. In these moments, we discover what we're truly made of. But what separates those who crumble under pressure from those who emerge stronger than before? What allows some people to face adversity with an almost supernatural resilience, while others are paralyzed by the first sign of trouble? Today, we're exploring the mind of Lucius Annaeus Seneca, a man who didn't just theorize about mental toughness. He lived it. As advisor to Emperor Nero, survivor of political exile, and victim of a forced suicide, Seneca faced challenges that would break most people. Yet through it all, he developed and refined a philosophy of mental resilience that has guided leaders, warriors, and everyday heroes for over 2 millennia. By the end of this video, you'll understand the specific mental techniques Seneca used to build unshakable psychological strength. You'll learn how to transform setbacks into comebacks, how to find opportunity in adversity, and how to develop the kind of mental toughness that makes you anti-fragile. Someone who doesn't just survive difficulties, but actually grows stronger because of them. If this kind of deep, transformative content resonates with you, I'd be grateful if you'd hit that subscribe button. It's a simple way to support our mission of bringing ancient wisdom to modern challenges. And please, don't skip ahead. Every section builds on the last. And if you're here, you're already part of a community that values depth over quick fixes. The Forge of Adversity. Why we need hardship to grow. Seneca understood something that our comfort-obsessed culture has forgotten. Hardship isn't the enemy of human flourishing. It's the catalyst. He wrote, "Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end," recognizing that destruction and creation are intimately linked in the human experience. Think about the strongest people you know. Not the ones who've had easy lives, but the ones who faced real challenges and emerged victorious. There's something different about them, isn't there? They carry themselves with a quiet confidence, a settled strength that can't be shaken by everyday problems. This is what Seneca called the mind made strong by enduring trials. But here's where Seneca's approach becomes radical. He didn't just endure hardship when it came, he actively sought it out. This practice, which he called setting aside time to live in poverty, involved deliberately experiencing discomfort to build resilience. He would spend days eating simple food, wearing rough clothes, and sleeping on hard surfaces, not as punishment, but as training. Modern science has validated this ancient wisdom through research on post-traumatic growth and stress inoculation. Just as muscles grow stronger when stressed by resistance training, our psychological resilience increases when we voluntarily expose ourselves to manageable challenges. Navy SEALs understand this principle. Their brutal training isn't meant to break them, but to forge unbreakable mental toughness. The key is the word voluntary. When we choose our hardships, we maintain agency and control. We're not victims of circumstance, but active participants in our own development. This transforms suffering from something that happens to us into something we use to become stronger. Aristotle's concept of the golden mean supports this approach. Courage, he argued, is the mean between cowardice and recklessness. We don't develop courage by avoiding all danger or by being foolishly reckless, but by gradually exposing ourselves to progressively greater challenges in a thoughtful, measured way. Consider how you might apply this principle in your own life. Instead of always choosing comfort, occasionally choose the harder path. Take cold showers. Exercise when you don't feel like it. Have difficult conversations you've been avoiding, or tackle projects that stretch your capabilities. Each voluntary hardship is a deposit in your resilience bank account. The goal isn't to become a masochist, but to expand your comfort zone systematically. As Seneca observed, the willing, destiny guides them. The unwilling, destiny drags them. By voluntarily embracing controlled discomfort, we prepare ourselves for the involuntary challenges that life will inevitably send our way. The art of Memento Mori, death as the ultimate teacher. Perhaps no Stoic practice is more misunderstood than Memento Mori, the remembrance of death. Our death-denying culture sees this as morbid pessimism, but Seneca understood it as the ultimate source of mental strength and clarity. He wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing." This isn't about becoming obsessed with death or living in fear of mortality. Rather, it's about using the reality of death as a lens to see what truly matters. When we fully grasp that our time is limited, we stop wasting it on trivial concerns and focus on what deserves our attention and energy. Steve Jobs captured this sentiment perfectly in his Stanford commencement address when he said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason not to follow your heart." Seneca practiced Memento Mori not to create anxiety, but to cultivate appreciation and urgency. When we truly understand that every day is borrowed time, we treat it as the precious gift it is. We become more present, more grateful, and paradoxically, more alive. This practice also builds mental toughness by putting our problems in perspective. That embarrassing mistake at work, that argument with a friend, that financial setback. How much will any of this matter when viewed from the perspective of our mortality? Memento Mori doesn't minimize legitimate concerns, but it helps us distinguish between genuine crises and temporary inconveniences. Marcus Aurelius, influenced heavily by Seneca's teachings, regularly contemplated mortality in his personal writings. He would remind himself that emperors and slaves, philosophers and fools all share the same ultimate destination. This perspective freed him from the anxiety of social comparison and the burden of others' opinions. The practice of Memento Mori also enhances our decision-making. When faced with choices, we can ask ourselves, if I knew I had only a year to live, what would I choose? This question cuts through rationalization and reveals our authentic priorities. Moreover, contemplating mortality builds courage. When we fully accept that death is inevitable, we become less attached to preserving our current comfort and more willing to take meaningful risks. We stop postponing the life we want to live and start living it now. This doesn't mean becoming reckless or nihilistic. Rather, it means approaching life with the urgency and appreciation it deserves. As Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." The power of premeditation, mental rehearsal for life's challenges. Seneca pioneered a practice that modern psychology now calls stress inoculation training, mentally rehearsing challenging scenarios before they occur. He called this Premeditatio Malorum, or the premeditation of evils, and it became one of his most powerful tools for building mental resilience. The principle is simple but profound. By imagining ourselves successfully handling difficult situations, we reduce their emotional impact when they actually occur and increase our confidence in our ability to cope. It's like a fire drill for the mind, practicing our response to emergencies when we're calm and clear thinking. Seneca would regularly spend time imagining various setbacks, the loss of wealth, the death of loved ones, exile from Rome, or threats to his reputation. But this wasn't pessimistic worry. It was strategic preparation. He was building mental muscle memory for adversity. Modern neuroscience has revealed why this practice is so effective. When we vividly imagine an experience, our brains create neural pathways similar to those formed by actual experience. Athletes have long used visualization to improve performance, and the same principle applies to psychological resilience. Consider how this might work in practice. If you're worried about giving a presentation, instead of just hoping it goes well, spend time imagining everything that could go wrong. Technical difficulties, hostile questions, mental blanks, and visualize yourself handling each challenge with grace and competence. The key is not just imagining the problems, but rehearsing effective responses. Seneca didn't just imagine exile. He imagined himself finding meaning and purpose even in banishment. When he was actually exiled to Corsica, this mental preparation helped him maintain his philosophical composure. This practice also cultivates what psychologists call benefit finding, the ability to identify positive aspects of negative experiences. By mentally rehearsing challenges, we train ourselves to look for opportunities for growth, learning, and character development, even in difficult circumstances. Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps, wrote about the power of finding meaning in suffering. Those who could maintain a sense of purpose and growth, even in the most horrific circumstances, were more likely to survive. Seneca's practice of premeditation builds exactly this kind of mental flexibility. The discipline of premeditation also reduces what psychologists call impact bias, our tendency to overestimate how much negative events will affect us and for how long. When we've mentally rehearsed various challenges, we're less likely to catastrophize when they occur. The discipline of perception, reframing reality for resilience. One of Seneca's most powerful insights was that our suffering comes not from events themselves, but from our judgments about those events. He wrote, "There is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so." A line later immortalized by Shakespeare, but rooted in Stoic wisdom. This isn't positive thinking or denial of reality. It's cognitive sophistication, the ability to examine our automatic interpretations and choose more empowering perspectives. Every event can be viewed through multiple lenses, and mentally tough people consistently choose the lens that serves them best. Consider unemployment. One person might see it as devastating failure and evidence of their worthlessness. Another might see it as an opportunity to reassess their career path, develop new skills, or pursue a long-held dream. same event, dramatically different experiences based on interpretation. Seneca practiced what we might now call cognitive reframing throughout his life. When exiled to Corsica, instead of wallowing in self-pity, he reframed the experience as an opportunity for philosophical reflection and writing. Some of his most profound works were produced during this period of apparent adversity. The cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, techniques widely used today are directly descended from Stoic practices. CBT teaches people to identify negative thought patterns and replace them with more balanced, realistic perspectives. Exactly what Seneca advocated 2 millennia ago. But this practice goes beyond individual psychology to encompass our entire worldview. Seneca taught his students to see setbacks as setup for comebacks, obstacles as opportunities to practice virtue, and challenges as chances to prove their philosophical training. The discipline of perception also involves what Seneca called the obstacle as the way. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we learn to ask, "How can I use this situation to become stronger, wiser, or more virtuous?" This shift in questioning transforms us from victims of circumstance into active agents of our own development. Modern research on resilience has identified this kind of cognitive flexibility as one of the key factors that separate those who thrive under pressure from those who merely survive. People who can rapidly reframe challenges as opportunities show better psychological adjustment and faster recovery from setbacks. The practice requires constant vigilance against our automatic negative interpretations. Seneca recommended regular self-examination, asking ourselves, "Am I seeing this situation clearly? Or am I being influenced by fear, anger, or other emotions? What would a wise person think about this circumstance? How might this apparent setback actually serve my long-term development?" The wealth of philosophical poverty. Finding abundance in simplicity. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome, yet he regularly practiced voluntary poverty to maintain his mental toughness and appreciation for simple pleasures. This practice, which he called philosophical poverty, involved periodically living as if he had lost everything, eating simple food, wearing basic clothes, and sleeping on hard surfaces. This wasn't asceticism for its own sake, but strategic mental training. By regularly experiencing voluntary discomfort, Seneca reduced his attachment to luxury and built confidence in his ability to be happy regardless of external circumstances. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, 'Is this the condition that I feared?'" The practice of voluntary simplicity builds mental toughness in several ways. First, it expands our comfort zone and reduces our dependence on external conditions for happiness. When we know we can be content with very little, we become less anxious about losing what we have. Second, it cultivates gratitude for ordinary pleasures. After spending a day eating only bread and water, a simple meal becomes a feast. After sleeping on the floor, a regular bed feels luxurious. This practice prevents hedonic adaptation, our tendency to take good things for granted.
Second, it cultivates gratitude for ordinary pleasures. After spending a day eating only bread and water, a simple meal becomes a feast. After sleeping on the floor, a regular bed feels luxurious. This practice prevents hedonic adaptation, our tendency to take good things for granted. Modern minimalism movements echo Seneca's insights, though they often miss the deeper philosophical purpose. The goal isn't to own fewer things but to be owned by fewer things. To find freedom from the anxiety and attachment that material possessions can create. The psychological benefits of voluntary simplicity are well documented. Studies show that people who regularly practice gratitude and appreciation show higher levels of life satisfaction and resilience to adversity. By voluntarily experiencing less, we learn to appreciate more. This practice also builds what psychologists call emotional regulation. The ability to maintain psychological equilibrium regardless of external circumstances. When we know we can be happy with very little, we become less reactive to material gains and losses. Seneca's approach to wealth was nuanced. He didn't advocate poverty for its own sake but rather emotional detachment from possessions. He taught his students to enjoy wealth without being enslaved by it, to use possessions without being used by them. The discipline of philosophical poverty can be adapted to modern life in many ways. Try eating simple, inexpensive meals occasionally. Sleep without your usual comforts. Walk instead of driving when possible. Spend time in nature without entertainment devices. These practices build psychological resilience while connecting us to what truly matters. The School of Exile. Finding home in displacement. Seneca's 8-year exile to Corsica became one of his greatest teachers, transforming apparent punishment into profound philosophical education. His letters from this period reveal a man who refused to be broken by displacement and instead found ways to thrive in adversity. Exile, whether physical or metaphorical, strips away our familiar supports and forces us to discover what we truly need for happiness. Seneca wrote, "Every change of fortune affects either our person or our possessions. A wise man is prepared for either." His exile taught him that home is not a place but a state of mind. Modern life provides many forms of exile: job loss, relationship endings, health challenges, or social rejection. These experiences can devastate us or educate us, depending on how we choose to respond. Seneca's example shows us how to transform displacement into development. The first lesson of exile is self-reliance. When stripped of familiar supports, we discover inner resources we didn't know we possessed. Seneca found that he could create meaning and purpose anywhere, that philosophical practice didn't require external conditions, only internal commitment. Research on post-traumatic growth shows that people often report becoming stronger, more self-aware, and more appreciative of life after surviving major challenges. This aligns perfectly with Seneca's experience of exile as ultimately beneficial to his development. The second lesson is the universality of human experience. In exile, Seneca encountered different cultures and perspectives that broadened his understanding of human nature. He learned that suffering is universal, but so is the capacity for wisdom, courage, and resilience. The third lesson is the portability of philosophy. External circumstances might change, but our ability to think clearly, choose our responses, and maintain our values remains constant. Seneca discovered that he could practice stoicism as effectively in exile as in Rome, perhaps more effectively, since adversity provided more opportunities to test his philosophical training. Modern applications of exile thinking might include reframing job loss as career exploration, seeing relationship endings as opportunities for personal growth, or viewing health challenges as chances to develop new strengths and perspectives. The key is maintaining what Seneca called the view from above, the ability to see temporary setbacks within the context of our overall life journey. From this perspective, exile becomes not punishment but education, not ending but beginning. The daily practice of dying well, living with philosophical intensity. Seneca believed that learning to die well was essential to living well. He wrote, "Let us prepare our minds as if we'd come to the very end of life. Let us postpone nothing. Let us balance life's books each day. This wasn't morbid preoccupation but practical wisdom about living with appropriate urgency and intensity. The practice of dying well involves several daily disciplines. First, regular reflection on mortality to maintain perspective on what truly matters. Second, living each day as if it were complete in itself, not merely preparation for some future achievement. Third, approaching each interaction as if it might be our last with that person. This philosophical intensity transforms ordinary moments into meaningful experiences. When we truly grasp the temporary nature of everything, we pay closer attention. We listen more carefully. We express appreciation more freely. We waste less time on trivial pursuits. Seneca practiced daily self-examination, reviewing his thoughts, words, and actions each evening. He would ask himself, did I live up to my principles today? Did I respond to challenges with wisdom and courage? What can I learn from today's experiences? This practice ensured continuous philosophical development. The discipline of dying well also involves what Seneca called philosophical bookkeeping. Regularly assessing whether our lives are aligned with our deepest values. Are we spending time on what matters most? Are we becoming the people we want to be? Are we making progress toward wisdom and virtue? Modern psychology recognizes this as values clarification, the process of identifying what we truly care about and aligning our actions accordingly. Research shows that people who live in accordance with their core values report higher levels of life satisfaction and resilience to stress. The practice of philosophical intensity doesn't mean living in constant anxiety about death but rather in constant appreciation of life. It means treating each day as both precious and complete, each conversation as potentially transformative, each challenge as an opportunity for growth. Building antifragile character. Beyond mere resilience, Nassim Taleb coined the term antifragile to describe systems that don't just survive stress but actually benefit from it. Seneca understood this principle long before it had a name. He developed practices that made him stronger through adversity, not despite it. Antifragile character isn't built through avoiding challenges but through actively engaging with them. Seneca wrote, "The mind that is anxious about future misfortunes is miserable, but the mind that faces them boldly gains strength from the very things it fears." This is the essence of antifragility, using stressors as fuel for growth. The difference between resilience and antifragility is crucial. Resilient people bounce back to their original state after adversity. Antifragile people bounce forward to a stronger state because of adversity. They don't just recover, they upgrade. Seneca's own life exemplifies this principle. His exile made him a better philosopher. His political challenges deepened his wisdom. His forced suicide became a final demonstration of philosophical courage that inspired countless others. Each apparent defeat became a victory of character over circumstance. Building antifragile character requires what Seneca called profitable loss, the willingness to sacrifice lesser goods for greater ones. This might mean losing comfort to gain strength, losing certainty to gain wisdom, or losing popularity to gain integrity. The practice involves systematically exposing ourselves to manageable stresses while maintaining our philosophical center. Like a tree that grows stronger in windy conditions, we can use life's challenges to develop deeper roots and more flexible branches. Modern research on hormesis, the phenomenon where small doses of stress improve overall function, validates Seneca's approach. Just as moderate exercise stress makes us physically stronger, moderate psychological stress can make us mentally stronger, provided we have the tools to process it constructively. The key to antifragility is maintaining what Seneca called philosophical optionality, the ability to benefit from positive events while being protected from negative ones. This comes from building internal resources that no external circumstance can touch: wisdom, virtue, self-knowledge, and emotional regulation. As we conclude our exploration of Seneca's blueprint for mental toughness, it's clear that his teachings offer more than historical curiosity. They provide a comprehensive system for developing unshakable psychological strength in our chaotic modern world. Seneca's approach to mental toughness isn't about becoming emotionally numb or callously indifferent to suffering. Rather, it's about developing the kind of inner strength that allows us to remain fully human while becoming increasingly unshakable in the face of life's inevitable challenges. The practices we've explored, voluntary hardship, memento mori, premeditation of evils, cognitive reframing, philosophical poverty, learning from exile, daily dying well, and building antifragile character, form a complete curriculum for psychological development that remains as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome. Seneca's life reminds us that mental toughness isn't an inborn trait but a developed skill. He wasn't naturally immune to adversity, he was trained in how to handle it. His exile hurt, his political troubles troubled him, his approaching death certainly concerned him. But he had tools to process these experiences constructively, and those same tools are available to us. The path to mental toughness begins with small daily practices and builds toward a fundamental transformation in how we relate to difficulty. Each challenge becomes an opportunity to strengthen our philosophical muscles. Each setback becomes setup for a comeback. Each apparent defeat becomes a victory of character over circumstance. Start where you are, with whatever challenges you're currently facing. Apply Seneca's principles not as abstract ideas but as practical tools for daily living. Begin building your mental toughness today, because life will certainly test it tomorrow. And when it does, you'll be ready, not just to survive, but to thrive, and to emerge stronger than you ever thought possible.